Michael Penix Jr., the Heisman Trophy runner-up in 2024, has emerged as one of the most promising and intriguing quarterback prospects in the 2024 NFL draft class, with his impressive stats that include 4,900 passing yards, 36 touchdown passes, and just 11 interceptions. Penix has showcased his exceptional talent. One of Penix's most remarkable attributes is his overall arm talent, which is regarded as one of the best in his draft class. Whether it's threading the needle on intermediate routes or launching deep bombs down the field, Penix consistently has demonstrated his talent as a quarterback. But today I wanted to jump into the film and analyze some of the most notable plays I've noticed from him thus far. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tape. Here, Washington is able to get the Oregon defensive tackle to jump, and this results in a free play which Penix immediately recognizes. He does a good job taking a shot down the field as he should on a free play. Just look at the accuracy on this throw though. He throws an absolute dot outside the numbers, and the ball placement was fantastic. Puts this in an area where only his wide receiver can make a play on the ball, and it was just a huge play for the Huskies. Here it looks like Washington sets this play up nicely where they sell a quick screen pass to number 1. Penix pump fakes that way and he sees the open man on the post route and he hits him right on target. I like the overall footwork and accuracy on this throw. Once again, Penix is able to display his arm talent on this throw. Empty set here, 5 wide, and the wide receiver bottom of your screen is able to be his man, and Penix punishes Oregon. Great ball placement once again, hits him right in the hands. Good stuff right here. Penix shows his ability to be accurate throwing the football in the short passing game as well, consistently hitting his receivers on time and in stride in the quick passing game, which is something that could be a big part in our offense under Luke Getsy. Here I like Penix Jr.'s ability to go through his progression, scan the entire field until he finds the open man. Here Oregon drop back into zone coverage and have the flat route, the corner route, and the drag route on this side fully covered. Penix scans the field, going through his reads until he goes all the way to the opposite side of the football field and finds his running back wide open on the check down route. Not a huge play or anything spectacular, but it just shows that he's not solely a one read type of quarterback and that he can scan the field as a passer and eventually find the open man. Here Michael Penix is definitely going to wish he made a better throw on this one. Play action pass and he has the flat route wide open, but this pass is underthrown. It was thrown very low, which made it a very difficult catch. I noticed he didn't do a good job setting his feet, which may have caused this underthrow, but this leads to an incompletion and it could have been a first down if he throws this properly. First big mistake of the game here from Washington. Here we're going to see the wide receiver bottom of your screen motions out and Penix is going to target him down the field, but you can see he slips on the route and it leads to an easy interception. This was definitely an unfortunate mistake, but I don't know how much we can blame the quarterback here. If he didn't fall down on this rep, this probably would have not been an interception, but just unfortunate play. Another play that Penix Jr. is going to regret, empty set, and we can see the slot wide receiver just absolutely cooks the linebacker and he's wide open. Penix instead decides to take a deep shot here, but he was just unable to connect. I'm sure he regrets not seeing his wide receiver being so open. You definitely got to take those safe, easy completions when they present themselves, and just another missed opportunity. Here we can see another great accurate throw, this time in between the numbers on this deep vertical route. Oregon run a cover 2 zone and he's able to exploit the huge gap in the middle of the field and once again hits him right in the hands, doesn't even have to break stride. Good stuff. Inside the red zone, and we got trips formation on the bottom of your screen, and just look at this route. He's able to get a step on his man, but this pass is just overthrown. The quarterback was just met with pressure right in his face, so that definitely influenced him being slightly off target. But at the end of the day, these are the plays you gotta make if you want to be a franchise quarterback. College football semifinal, and Washington is gonna get a huge chunk play through the air. Penix drops back, clean pocket, and I love the anticipation on this throw. Before the receiver fully makes his break toward the sideline, Penix already identified the matchup and he gets this ball out of his hand. This is just another phenomenal throw, and his wide receiver gets some big yards after the catch, but man, was this just a beautiful throw. On this rep, just take a look here at number 90. He's going to get a free rush on Penix. He doesn't even get a chance to set his feet. This was an all-arm type of throw, and once again, just perfect ball placement. Great throw right here. Here, I love his ability to avoid the sack on this one. Number 90 once again gets into the backfield, and Michael Penix is able to avoid the pressure, gets this pass off for a first down. These are the type of plays I definitely love to see in a quarterback prospect. You got to be able to have the ability to make plays when the pocket breaks down, and he does that just right here. Here, Penix shows off his great arm once again, play action pass, rolls to his left, sees the matchup down the field, man-to-man coverage, and he's able to throw this between the safety and the cornerback for another absolute dot of a throw. Play action pass here, and he makes the right read, finds the open man, but the throw was just slightly overthrown. This is definitely an unfortunate play because they had the matchup they wanted. Missed opportunity right here. Here's another example of him avoiding a sack. We got a free rusher off the edge. Nobody on the offensive line picks him up. So for most quarterbacks, this would have been an easy sack, but he has the speed and the awareness to step up into the pocket, and he makes him miss. After that, he stays composed, keeps his eyes down the field, and he throws it towards the end zone and gets a little lucky here as a defensive back tips this like perfectly, and it falls right into the hands of the wide receiver. But regardless, this was still a very impressive play by him. He shows that playmaker ability to his game. Here we can also see Penix Jr. can get it done with his legs as well on this quarterback design read option run. Shows good burst and speed for the first down. And what I love to see is him sliding to avoid taking a hit. This is definitely something you want from your potential franchise quarterback to do this at the next level. Inside the red zone once again, and Penix is going to put the ball into the end zone off this pass. Does a good job going through his reads and sees number 11 in the end zone, and once again he anticipates the throw. The ball is coming out before his wide receiver even turns his head, which gives these two defenders no time to react. He fits this in perfectly for another big touchdown drive in this game. Here they're going to fake a bubble screen, and Penix is able to fit this pass into a very tight window outside the numbers. Just another incredibly impressive throw by him. Now in this rep, this was not a completion, but Penix's ability to stretch the field vertically with his precise deep throws makes this play possible, and he helps generate a pass interference with a ball placement on this one. And that's what I love to see from quarterbacks that can throw it deep. You don't even have to convert every single time. Sometimes if you can just put it in the area, good things can happen for you. Once again, deep shot outside the numbers. He immediately recognizes the release his wide receiver gets off the cornerback off the line, and he throws it into an area where only his guy can get it. Just a beautiful pass. He makes these deep passes just look so easy. National championship matchup, and Michigan is going to go into a cover 3 zone, and one of the safeties has a blown coverage, and Washington gets a wide receiver wide open down the field. Unfortunately though, Penix is inaccurate with the throw, forcing his wide receiver to turn his hips completely to try and make the catch, and it just falls as an incomplete pass. Look, against Michigan in the national championship game, these are the throws Washington had to convert on if they wanted to become champions, and they let a huge opportunity slip away on this one. Here Michigan is going to drop into a cover 2 zone, and Penix gets away with what should have been a turnover. The pressure is going to get there, and it even looks like he hesitates on this decision to throw the pass along the sideline, trying to fit this in a super tight window. He gets hit as he throws this ball, so it comes out wobbly, which makes it even more of a fortunate play for him as it did not get intercepted. But in this play, he should have just thrown the ball away in my opinion, especially with this being the first play in the second half. The last thing you want to do is immediately give your opponent the momentum coming out of the break, but just a lucky play right here. Michigan drops back into cover 3 once again, and we got his wide receiver top of the screen is running in a corner route between the safety playing the deep third and the cornerback playing that flat route. They get the right look, it's open, but the pass is just slightly overthrown and a little behind as well, but just another missed opportunity for Penix. Now, one thing I will say before you start thinking that Michael Penix fully underperformed in the national championship game just based on these plays I've been showing earlier, you'll see that it was just also the Michigan defense outmatching their offense more times than not, as Penix is able to identify the crossing route being open in the zone coverage. He throws an accurate pass, but his receiver is just unable to make the catch right here. Here he's going to hit them deep off this beautiful sluggo route for a huge gain, but unfortunately his offensive line is going to set them back as they get called with a holding call. Washington just shot themselves way too many times in the foot in this game, and that's what ultimately led them to lose this championship game. Wide receiver motion, and this time Penix is going to look at the player we saw all season long, throwing the rock deep once again. Michigan is going to run a cover 2 zone, and this vertical route gets open, and Penix has the arm strength and the velocity to get this to his wide receiver before the safety can even recover. Just good accuracy on the throw once again. Here he's going to drop back and is going to be forced to step up in the pocket and throws this on the move. His tight end was open underneath, but I don't know, the throw just looked a little bit awkward as well coming out of his hand, but this is just an overthrown pass, and this is late in the ball game. You need all the yards you can get to try to get back into the game. Now, a couple plays later, this is late into the ball game, fourth quarter, 4th and 13 for Washington. They're down, and Penix is going to get aggressive and try to fit this into a very tight window, which results in an interception, which is ultimately just taken back for huge yards. And that was just essentially the end of this game. Now, I had to include it, but I'm not going to look too much into this though. I mean, it's 4th and 13. They need a touchdown. They need to be aggressive, so I don't mind him taking a shot, but this is also why it was important for him to not miss a dump off pass earlier. It's much easier to convert on a 4th and 5 type of situation compared to a 4th and 13. So overall, I've been very impressed with the film that Michael Penix has put out there. He can play like a traditional drop back pocket passer, and he's easily got one of the best deep arms in this year's draft, if not the best. Watching his tape, there's just countless times that he just threw deep bombs to his wideouts, and the accuracy was just off the charts. He's shown the ability to read coverages as well. He's not a player that is solely dependent on his athleticism, but he most definitely has enough athleticism to make plays with his legs when necessary and evade pressure when he has to. But what I love is he's not really a run-first quarterback. When he's using his legs, it's to buy time, but ultimately he keeps his eyes down the field to find the open man. He's the type of player who wants to beat you with his arm and not so much with his legs. He also, in my opinion, played pretty well in crucial situations for Washington throughout their season. I remember him, the Huskies were always just making big plays down the stretch to close out games. Against Michigan though, in the national championship game, they're just simply outmatched, but I still don't think he played terribly at all. Now, what are his flaws? Why is this guy not really widely considered to be a lock as a top 3 pick this year? Well, I think the answer to that question lies with his overall injury history, and let's just touch on that real quick. I mean, in 2018 he appeared in 3 games as a true freshman where he suffered a season-ending ACL tear. In 2019 he dislocated his non-throwing shoulder, ending his season. In 2020, in that COVID shortened season, Penix was arguably a dark horse Heisman Trophy candidate with 14 touchdown passes through 5 games, but unfortunately that season ended for him as well as he re-tore his ACL. And by the time 2021 rolled around, it's reported that injuries were really starting to take a toll on Penix's mind. He had told the Pac-12 network earlier that year that he had dealt with some mental health struggles as a result. He was quoted as saying, "There were times I'd wake up the day of the game and I'd wait until my roommates leave and I would just lie on the floor. I just cry to God, just praying that he'd protect me that day because I knew where my head was at that time and it wasn't truly fresh." And he just added that there was a lot of tears that year for him. And unfortunately in that 2021 season, it ended only after 5 games with him suffering a dislocated joint on his throwing shoulder. So in total, Michael Penix Jr. has suffered 4 season-ending injuries, 2 of those being an ACL injury, and he has dislocated both of his shoulders at this point. Really, that's the biggest thing I see that's holding him back from a top 3 pick in this year's draft. Some NFL franchises are just gonna think it's too big of a risk for taking a player with that type of injury history. Now, the good news is that he has stayed healthy the last 2 seasons though, but it's still something you gotta feel a little bit worried about if you're drafting him so early in the first round. Now, one thing I will say is this is probably just a little bit of bias for my part, but let me know if you guys agree with me. But essentially, left-handed quarterbacks have always just thrown me off for some reason. His throwing motion at times did look a little weird and awkward, but despite my bias against left-handed quarterbacks, I will say I was left very impressed watching his tape. I could really see Penix Jr. being a potential good fit for the Luke Getsy offense. I think if you're the type that wants to see this team take deep shots and stretch the field vertically, I think this is your guy. Now, when it comes to the draft, will he be available at 13th? Probably not. There are so many teams that need a quarterback in this year's draft that are ahead of us, so I think more likely we're gonna have to trade up, but not as early as some other players would demand, like Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. But with the Raiders being at 13, I think 1, 2, and 3 are more than likely going to be quarterbacks taken off the board. The Giants at number 6 maybe could take a quarterback. I don't know. They just paid Daniel Jones not too long ago, but you never know. And after that, I think there's a very good chance that Atlanta at number 8 would select a quarterback. And I think at that point, Penix Jr. would be the best available QB on the board. So I see the Raiders more than likely having to trade up to number 7. And if Atlanta passes on him, then for sure I think we would have to trade up to number 9 with the Bears, as the Vikings, the Jets, and the Denver Broncos are all teams that pick ahead of us, and you can make an argument that all 3 of those may draft a quarterback. But in a perfect scenario, if Penix fell to 13, I would select him in a heartbeat. It's hard to say what will ultimately end up happening come draft night, but Michael Penix Jr. is definitely a quarterback on my radar. The only biggest concern with me is the injury history, and if we draft him, we will need to prioritize bringing in a solid right tackle to protect his blind side, with him being a left-handed quarterback. But Penix Jr. definitely has the potential to make a significant impact in the league with his exceptional arm talent, intelligence, leadership traits. He has the potential to become a franchise quarterback for years to come. The Raiders are in need of a dynamic playmaker at the quarterback position, so he's definitely someone to keep a close eye on. But Raider Nation, those are my thoughts and opinions on Michael Penix Jr. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is he a quarterback you guys would like to see in the silver and black next season? Let me know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that's all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.